This is Hockey Talk on WNFL. Back to Jason Scott and Coach Pat from the Green Bay Gamblers.
We're now joined by two Green Bay Gambler players, two area players, both from Appleton, Wisconsin. You don't see that often in the USHL, Scott. Kids from that play in the United States Hockey League, they come from all over. We got two local guys here in Trenton Bliss and Carver Watson, and that's great to see.
And BCJHL coming from that league last year into the USHL. I heard the name the Chilliwack Chiefs and was all excited.
Of course, Carver Watson played for the Chilliwack Chiefs, and we were talking off the air a little bit, Carver, about your time there, and you guys went on quite the little run at the end of the season, but it seemed like a great atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, Chilliwack's a great place to play. I didn't know if I was supposed to talk there.
Well, I just remember some of those road trips going through, well, especially the interior through, at the time, Kelowna, Vernon, Penticton, some Merritt, some quality teams at the time since Kelowna went up to the Dub. But anytime we went into Chilliwack, it was a battle. I mean, it was always a battle. Is it still that way up there?
Last year we were kind of a skilled team, but I feel like Langley, I don't know if there's a team when you were
Langley Thunder?
Yeah, well, they're the Langley Rivermen now. They're kind of that thick team that is hard to play against. So,
and talk a little bit, Carver, about your journey, because we talked about this before, Scott and myself. It was great to see the overtime goal Saturday night 2 weeks ago, the game winner scored by you. I like to see that maybe you play with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You played in Madison at the start of your USHL career, went to Tri-City, went to the BC League, then came back to Green Bay. Ultimately, your goal was to get back in the USHL. You're a recruit of Michigan Tech, of course, following your two brothers there. But just talk a little bit about your journey and getting back to the USHL.
This is my fourth year of juniors, and being cut a few times, I mean, it really just helps you, I think, grow as a person and as a player. So, I mean, getting cut from Madison after a year and a half playing there, I was roommates with my brother, so that was probably the toughest one for sure. And then I went to Tri-City, only played 4 or 5 games for them. Pretty much was there to be like a development guy for them, and the next year they cut me after the first couple weeks, so that was tough. But going back, like we were talking about Chilliwack, it was probably one of the best things that happened to me because it was kind of more of a skilled league, and it helped me develop my confidence and grow as a player.
Definitely hockey bloodlines in the family. Cliff, Cooper, your two brothers. One, I think, is it Cooper playing at Michigan Tech right now, Carver, and then Cliff is playing in Utah?
Yep. Cliff was he was with Calgary for a little bit, and then they sent him down to Stockton, and then they thought he would play best in the coast. So,
get his opportunities though. But all three of you guys are going to go through the Michigan Tech Husky system in the UP. What went into the family decision to go that route?
My oldest brother was actually originally committed to Ohio State, but they had a coaching change, so he was sitting there. He's like, "Do I go back to juniors or do I go to college?" And Michigan Tech was recruiting him pretty heavily, so he decided to go to Michigan Tech. And then obviously they started recruiting Cooper, and Cooper decided to go there as well. So then when they started talking to me, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me to go there. So,
all right, we're going to put, before we visit with Trenton Bliss in our next segment here, we're going to put Carver on the hot seat.
All right.
So Kyle, start the clock. You have 2 minutes, Carver.
Okay.
Give us the quickest answers you can. Favorite hockey moment?
Clark Cup.
Best activity to do in Green Bay?
Movie night.
Choose a movie title for the story of your life.
Grizzled.
Nice. That's perfect. I like that. That's right off the hip, too. How old is the oldest pair of shoes in your closet?
4 years old, maybe.
It's not bad.
Pretty good.
What is the oldest thing in your refrigerator?
I don't know what Grandma Jean's got in the fridge, so probably some old stuff.
Favorite cereal?
Fruit Loops.
Strangest talent you have?
That's a tough one. I'm going to have to pass. Can we pass?
No, there's no passing. No passing. You're in the
That's
hot
a tough
seat,
one. I
Carver.
don't know. Pretty good at video games, if that counts.
That passes, Jason.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott, you got that?
That's acceptable.
Strange phobia.
I hate feet.
He does hate
So much.
So you talked a little bit about the Clark Cup moment, favorite hockey moment. Walk us through that a little bit for the fans that are listening at home.
It's undescribable, really. I mean, I didn't play for the game, but it's you're just sitting up in the stands and you're sweating, you're getting goosebumps. Like it's unreal.
Does that drive you because you didn't get to play that game, that if you have the chance this year that you're ready to go and to get after it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw what they had to go through, and I saw, like, obviously I had helped them in practice and everything. So, I mean, it's definitely a spot I want to get back to.
All right, we got 10 seconds left. I'm going to take you off the hot seat after
right.
this question. What or who or are you a closet fan of? What or who are you a closet fan of?
Closet fan of? I got the thing there. So I guess
Taylor Swift or
Taylor Swift.
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood. There we go.
I got one more. Jason.
One more.
I got to ask you. So, and I've asked it in the past, but it seems like you pass somebody in the street and they say, I like that. If you could, you have a successful college career, you move on to the NHL, life is great. Would you rather be a fourth line player in the NHL and play for 10 years? Or would you rather play for one game and win the Stanley Cup?
That's tough. Probably the Stanley Cup. Would I win the cup if I was a fourth liner? Or is
No.
No, I wouldn't. Okay, so yeah, the Stanley Cup for sure.
But you get a ton of money
It's
by
hard.
playing longer.
You
you
would.
get more girls with the Stanley Cup.
Honest.
Exactly.
Honesty.
That's a good way to end it. Straight honesty for Carver Watson. Carver, thanks for coming in. We're going to take a break. Then when we return, we're going to visit with Trenton Bliss. That's coming up here on Hockey Talk at WNFL.
Green Bay Gamblers Hockey Talk is on the air. 1440 and 101.9 FM.
Welcome back to our program. Carver, telling you, giving you some business. Sure.
JHL anymore there, Mr. Jewett. It's I don't know if I should be.
I think he called you nicely. He called you old in a very nice, polite
The team
way.
I played for in the BC.
Excuse me, Mr. Jewett,
Yeah,
it's not
Bellingham doesn't even exist. It had relocated to Trail, and I don't know if Trail still has a team in the
Trail
in
Smoke
the.
Eaters.
Yeah.
He also, I think, called you out on the Langley team. You said
Oh, the Langley Thunder. Yeah,
Thunder.
they
It's
were-
the Rivermen, right?
Silverman, no, yeah.
and they used to be
Yeah.
soft. They were, when you say a heavy team, they weren't. Chilliwack was. Langley was always soft.
It changed.
We're now joined by Green Bay Gamblers forward Trenton Bliss. Trenton back for another season with the Green Bay Gamblers, right down the road from Appleton, Wisconsin. A little bit of a homecoming for you, both of you guys. You played at Appleton Ice. We got to play a game for youth hockey there. Bring back any memories for you?
Yeah, I mean, Carver and I grew up playing for the Junior Gamblers together and practicing at the Rush Center with guys like CJ Ike, and you watch our coach now. We remember watching Coach Arnold play, and just really a special moment to be able to put on that jersey.
See, that's where I'm going to get old, because I also remember Grant Arnold playing because I was calling games at that point. That was not that long ago. Scott, we just keep getting older, and the kids that come into the USHL just stay the same age.
That's true.
When they start becoming, I think Mike Vukojevic, he's an 01. 01. I was well older than that.
Well, they say, the older you get, the better you were. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
You got to ask, before we get into the hot seat, you got to ask Trenton the question that we asked off air. Either these.
Well, we've asked a couple, but do you want to win a Stanley Cup where you play one game in the NHL, or would you like to be a fourth line player for 10 years, a consistent player in the NHL without ever winning anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd have to go what Carver said with winning the Stanley
glory.
Cup. Just, I mean, obviously the girls, but you were saying
It
you
all
get
boils back down to one thing, right, Kyle?
you get your name on that trophy, and it's really special. And he said we could play in Europe, so
Well, you can play wherever
Make
you
some
want.
money.
Would you be respected, though? Would you be respected as a player in the NHL if you played one game and threw your name on that cup? And you've had Grizzly veterans that have been out there and performing day in and day out. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that you'd be respected in the league?
Well, I don't know about respected, but I think as a hockey player, you understand the work and the time and the commitment that you've put in your whole life to get to that point, and you don't need redemption from anybody else ever. If your name is on the Stanley Cup, you've earned it. You've earned the right to be on that cup.
And you've also taken the path to get there, too. It's not like you just stepped out of your house.
It's not like you're coming from high school hocky and they call you up into the NHL to play in the Stanley Cup
playing
finals.
in the American Hockey League.
You've paid your dues and you're ready to play.
I don't know.
But 10 years.
That's a heck of a career.
That's a great career. So,
and there's a lot of guys in the NHL that have done that.
And never won a cup.
So would you then, Trenton, on a wide open net, you're skating down with a teammate, Carver.
Yeah.
Carver sitting right next to you, by the way.
All right.
You guys are skating down open net. You have an opportunity to score, or you can pass it. What do you do? He's staring.
Can I pass it to him and he pass it back? Give him his assist?
Would he pass it back? I don't think he would pass it back.
I don't know.
Trent needs his first goal, so
Yeah, true.
I'd let him take it.
Yeah.
Does that ever come up, though? What would you do, Scott? If you had the opportunity, would you... A lot of people say, I'll pass it. But if it's your first goal,
It's easy for me to say now, but when you're there in the position, when it's happened, I remember, a guy, Colin Ward, where, there's a time when, you take a shot that, the right thing to do is pass that puck and let your teammate, let him do it. But if you don't, you're a little bit selfish sometimes. Or it's, But the other thing is, if you don't take that shot and score, you make the pass and it gets all muddled up, the other team comes down and scores, well, then the coach is
So
all
the
over
guy
you.
that called you Old Carver, who's sitting right now, you think he's going to muddle it up on this play?
If you do, Coach Pat, I'm sure, is going to have something to say about it. If you don't score and the team, it's a tough deal.
One thing that we didn't get to touch on, Trenton, you were Player of the Year. You were named Player of the Year in Wisconsin, I think in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
What was that experience like for you?
It was a really special moment. And winning the state championship that year just was kind of like icing on the cake, I guess. And to be able to do that with guys that I've grown up playing hockey with. And I wish I could have done it with Carver, but he was in the USHL already. But just lifelong friends and a lot of special memories. So it was really awesome.
Unbelievable. All right, let's get him on that hot seat.
Let's
Kyle.
get him on it, Kyle.
Let's start that timer. Here we go. Trenton, best place to eat in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Chili's.
That's what we're going with?
Wow, Chili's.
There's a lot
Favorite
of different
restaurant.
places in Appleton.
Favorite
We're going
restaurant.
Chili's?
Yeah.
I don't know.
favorite
restaurant.
I might just have to let the time run out. Kyle.
That's great.
Chili's.
Now I lost my spot. At which store would you like to max out your credit card?
Lululemon.
That's two on Lululemon.
Popular pick.
What was your favorite TV show growing up?
Sports Center, but
Oh my God!
I don't-
Come on.
I like The Office too, but
Growing up though.
yeah, I didn't really watch TV, so probably just Sports Center, I guess.
What is the nerdiest thing you do in your spare time?
Play video games a lot,
What's your favorite video game?
either Call of Duty or NHL. So
What, if anything, have you ever regifted? Like, if you got a gift,
yeah,
have you ever I've done that.
I don't
like
think
you
I-
go to weddings, Scott, and you get something, and then you give it back to somebody else. Kyle's looking at me, shaking his head, like I've done that.
I think my mom's given me like some socks or like a shirt that I don't like, and I'll just give it to my brother. But I don't know if that counts.
That's a nice way of saying.
Yeah.
Don't buy me clothes. What's your favorite hockey moment?
Probably winning state or winning a national championship with Team Wisconsin.
What is the strangest talent you have?
You're talented at everything, so.
I don't know.
Noah Prokop said he can do a Rubik's Cube in under a minute.
I
I'm
want to
yet
see
to
it.
see that.
Yeah, I want to see it without taking the stickers off.
We gotta see that without
Yeah.
taking the stickers
Yeah.
off.
We'll
you guys
get, we'll
believe
get a
that
video.
you could do that?
I don't know. We'll
I've
do it on the
asked-
road trip.
I've asked him to get me a video because I think that's Facebook gold if he can beat it out in
I
a
think
minute.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
but I still have yet to hear from him. So
Can you tell me a little bit about your Team Wisconsin experience when that was mentioned? What was that like?
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. I mean, me and Carver were on that team together, with Luke Strand as our coach and a lot of other guys in college like Sam McCormick and Tony Stillwell, so Green Bay natives. And we weren't the favorite by any means, but we just really came together as a team. And at the end of the day, we just got the job done playing against excellent competition. So
I think it's really great. You guys can kind of speak to this too. Is your generation, the hockey talent in this area, Northeast Wisconsin, has really grown. Mm-hmm. You guys have seen that. I mean, just the players you just listed off.
Yeah, I mean it's really neat to have that kind of core group of guys be, help kind of drive youth hockey in this area, and hopefully it'll just continually to grow and grow, and that's what we like to see, and we like to help out. So,
well done, both of you guys. That's Trent Bliss, Carver Watson.